because today we're welcoming Linda Kavelin-Popov, as you know, one of the founders of the Virtues Project. And we invited her here today because we had a question about the different decks of cards and what's the story behind where all of them came from and how they happened and what is that all about. And yeah, I mean, I even have questions about the pictures on here and where did they come from. I know a little bit about the pictures on these ones, so we would love to know more. We'd like to know the stories behind the Virtues cards that have touched our hearts and our lives so incredibly profoundly. So, Linda.
Thank you, Patty. What a great way to introduce those questions. Very gracious of you. And I love the curiosity that all of you are showing about that story. There's so much to the story, and I'll try to sum it up. But I want to start with the longest story, which is how the Virtues card idea arose in the first place. I was invited to the Yukon to a drug and alcohol treatment center in Whitehorse. And I was told that I'd be doing a workshop for the staff, just a brief workshop. When I arrived, there was this huge circle, including the clients, some of whom had just come into detox, some of whom had been there for 3 weeks. I'm going, this is so different from what I expected. So I was just shucking and jiving. I was using everything I knew. I did all these different things with them. I just remember that moment of, okay, not what I expected, let's just dance with it. So I did all kinds of exercises with them. I did some of them from my psychotherapy background. I did family sculpting, which is a psychodrama that you have people participate in, very powerful. Most of them were men. I think they were all men. And they were, a lot of times they were crying. It was very, very powerful. I did sharing circle. I did all kinds of things. And then I had decided before I left home that I was going to photocopy the 4 pages on each virtue in the Family Virtues Guide, which is what we had at the time, and maybe give them away. Or, well, I decided on an exercise right then and there, and it was the very first virtues pick in the world. So I had all these virtues and I fanned them out. I went around the circle and each person took one. And I don't know what I said, but I think I said, read this and share with your circle. I broke them into circles of 3. And then tell each other a virtue you see in the person who just shared. And I set boundaries about listen in silence, receptive silence. Well, when I did the processing of that exercise, I'll never forget this guy. He was a young, really gorgeous young brave, and he had a band around his hair. And he said, Linda, I got, what was it? I think it was honesty. And he said, no, it was honor. And there was a picture of a child being tempted to steal and choosing not to. He said, when I was raised, my granny taught me how to steal because we didn't have any food and we didn't have anything. And I learned that. And that's why I'm in here. And that's why I've been in jail. And he said, but I don't do that anymore. I have my own children now, and I don't want to be that kind of a dad to set that example. And he said, you know, I looked at all these signs of success and I do this and I do that and I do this. Does that mean I'm a man of honor? And I said, yes, you are. Anytime you choose to be, that virtue will shine in you. And I thought, wow, what is this thing I just did with these people? And afterwards, I said, of all the things we did today, um, what was most meaningful to you guys? And they all said the virtues pick, every single one of them. I thought, what the heck was that? So I came home and talked to Dan and John. And that's how we decided to make the first set of virtues cards, which I know Betsy remembers, which were these colored, brightly colored sheets. Do you remember those, Patty? I don't know if you ever saw them, but they were just little pieces of paper in different colors with information from the Family Virtues Guide. Some of you are shaking your head like you remember. And then I realized people are really using these things. They need something more solid. And so that's how the first family virtues cards were created. That first set is an interfaith set, okay? And people really love them. And adults use them not only with their kids, but they use them for themselves. And we use them. I use them every day. So then the more we did this work, the more we traveled around the world, and we realized that this was not just a parenting program, this was a personal transformation program. How do you bring your faith to life? Whatever your faith may be. How do you become a better Christian, a better Jew, a better Baha'i, a better Muslim? You live by the virtues, which are the attributes of God reflected in the human spirit. So we thought, okay, don't ask me what year any of this happened. I don't do numbers anymore. It just eludes me. I know when my children are born, that's about it. Okay, so we created, I think the next set that we created was the virtues reflection cards, because we knew that adults were using them. We wanted to elevate it somewhat. And so we also knew that some people who were part of the Virtues Project were not religious. And so instead of all the quotes being from sacred texts, we had very few of those, and they were just from philosophers and great people, you know, like I can remember, well, Dag Hammarskjöld is an example, the leader of the UN, and then just other people that we felt really had something to say. And so they became somewhat more secular, but not completely. So as time went on, other aspects of the Virtues Project evolved. And so more and more facilitators were focusing on education. And so in education in the US of A, you can't mix religion and the state. And so we put together the Virtues Project Educator's Guide. That wasn't the next book, but it was one of the books. And we realized that we needed cards to go with it. And so that's how the Virtues Educator cards came about. And they have no quotes on them. I realized later, you know, they could have had some quote, but, and so they are used in schools. But I'll tell you something, in other countries, they were using the family cards with the quotes. And if we didn't have them, they would refuse to use them because they don't separate religion from life. And they don't separate religion from education. And so just an interesting side note. Let's see. Then, okay, something happened. And I hope I don't offend anybody by saying this, because I know some of you are Baha'is. We got some feedback from some Baha'is that they were taking out all the cards that didn't have Baha'i quotes. And I was really truthfully shocked, because the essence of Baha'i faith is the oneness of religion. I thought they just have lost the plot. They don't understand what their basic teaching is. But we thought, well, if they want it, we should do it. And then I found out that the Jewish community was not ordering the cards or the book because they didn't want any quotes outside of the Torah. So we had quite a consultation about this because, do you stand strong or assertive about this is our philosophy, it's multi-faith or nothing, or do you try to get the virtues information to people that have a different perspective? So I think we stepped into more tolerance or maybe more unity. And especially Dan did this. Dan created 17 sets of cards for 17 different belief systems, from Sikh to Confucianism to Zoroastrianism, Islam. Yeah. Oh, good. Yes. Which ones are those, Patty?
The First Nations.
First Nations. Yes.
Yeah.
Boy, they have been used a whole ton.
Yeah, I bet.
They really have. And the Christian ones as well. We also have not just generic Christian. We have from the Catholic Bible. We have, the Jerusalem Bible for Catholicism. We had Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints quotes. And sad to me, nothing has ever been done to promote those. They're still in existence. But I just wish they were out there. And that's something that I'm going to encourage the Virtues Project International Association. I'm going to encourage them once again to do something with that, or maybe Images International. So then entered the modern era. This has been going on for 30 years. So times change and looks change. And some people think the Virtues Reflection cards are really old fashioned, with the border and the photos and stuff. The photos for those, we actually bought many of those photos, but some of them we took ourselves. So if you look on cheerfulness, John took photos of the cherry blossoms when he lived in Japan. And so that's what we used. But and I took pictures of the mountains as we were going into the Rockies across Canada. But so now all these different groups really want the cards, but they want them jazzed up. They want them more modern. And my philosophy is go for it. It's not about rigid holding on to copyright laws or anything. I just want people to have them. And to be honest with you, it's hard for me to see when somebody takes almost everything I've written and changes one or two lines and makes it less powerful or less spiritual. But I got to get over it because, like the character card, it changed the last line, which I really love. I won't waste a single day. So it's taken a huge amount of flexibility, acceptance, etc. What's exciting now is that groups like DECA, which is a youth group, a national youth group in the US, have created their cards that they think appeal to the kids their own age. And they're getting them out there. We have the card we read from today was created by ShareTree, which is a corporation in New Zealand, Australia, that works with corporations. And so there's a lot of diversity out there. And I think it's part of the sustainability that we are going with the flow. And there's not any much money involved in that, but it does flow back to VPIA because we gave them our royalties when we retired. So I'm hoping that we're going to see services from VPIA that reflect that. So what was the other? Oh yes, and now something I think is absolutely awesome is that we've got the phone app or the tablet app
Mm.
so that you can click, you can shake your phone and come up with a virtue wherever you are, whatever you need. And to me, it's just been amazing that all of you, I mean, many of you that I've known for many years, your devotion to this project and your enthusiasm for it has never faded. And neither has mine. I use it as a spiritual ladder to get to where I want to be. And I keep incorporating my own faith, which for me is all of them. I read the Bible, I read the Buddhist writings, I read the Baha'i writings. To me, it's one faith evolving. So, what else did I want to tell you?
What about these ones?
Oh, thank you. Lord have mercy, Dan would be so sad if I left that out. Okay. Thanks for the prompt, Patty. Okay, so unbelievable. Okay, so those are the most recent cards we created. We were in Aitutaki, Cook Islands for 6 years. And when we were there, I was writing, which book was I writing? Can't remember. Let's see. I was starting to write Dreaming at the Crossroads of Change. I'd also finished A Pace of Grace in the Cook Islands years before. Anyway, that's a very sacred place for us. And I don't recall how the idea came about, but I thought, sometimes it feels like there's too many words in the cards. And people today are so used to quick images like boom, 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 watching a screen and thumbing through. And so I thought, I'd like to make briefer cards. And Dan had taken all these gorgeous sunset photos of the sunset in Aitutaki, reflected in the water. And we thought, let's do something new. And I want to tell you that whenever I have been in the process of writing these cards, I'm actually in an altered state. I really pray that I will give the purest reflection I possibly can. They're grounded in all the sacred texts. The virtues themselves come from the sacred text. So even with these cards, I read them and I don't recognize that I wrote them. It's almost like they're new to me every day. Part of it is my memory, which is really, everything is new to me every day. But I have a great memory. It's just short. Okay, so just remember there's more of us than there are of them. Okay. Thank God the right side of my brain, which one is it? It works better than the left. I'm still writing. So I remember on Aitutaki, we consulted with this friend of ours that we were mentoring, to be honest. We just looked after him. He was a foodie. We got to lunch with him. He's very non-religious, but he loved the virtues. And he's very, very bright. And we consulted Larry about what we should call them and, different things. And he was very helpful. And he was so proud to be part of the process, So those we created before we left Aitutaki. So that was 3 years ago that we had to leave. So, and last November is when Dreaming at the Crossroads of Change came out, the book.
Mm-hmm.
There was something else I wanted to tell you.
Well, the name change for these?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're so helpful, Patty. I think that Dara and Dave, who created Virtues Matter and are publishing the cards as an app, felt that sunset sounded like it was the sunset of your life, which for us it is, but not for everybody. So they they felt like there was so much going on with COVID and everything. And they consulted me when Dave and I were writing a blog called 7 Virtues for the Great Reset. You can still find it on my website, which is just my name, Linda Kavelin-Popov, all one word, .com. And, they felt that it was all about resilience. And if you look at the resilience card, I love that card because it reframes when we are going through a testing time. We are not victims, we are athletes, gaining strength from adversity. Ooh, I remembered to say that. Okay. But I read that card a lot and I send it to people a lot. I love that capacity with those that Virtues Cards app, that you can honor people with the virtue. I use that all the time. And not when they need, but when they show. I don't want to tell them you should be this. It's I see you. This is what I see in you. Very important.
Yeah. Mm.
I wonder what that little, oh yeah. I wanted to tell you, there were a couple of times when I was writing the Virtues Reflection cards that something would tell me that I need to talk to Dan. And I would say, Dan, this line doesn't feel true, or it's not enough. And he came up with a line. Don't ask me what virtue it is, but we trade control for an embrace. That's his line. And I
What
think
was that again?
We trade control for an embrace. I think that's how I think it's in the card of acceptance. Maybe somebody could look it up on your phone or something. But I wanted to tell you another contribution that Dan made to the Virtues cards. Not only did he design most of them, John did the early ones, but Dan did everything else. Because we were gone all the time, so John needed to not be alone in a house in the woods. So he went back to Disney for 6 years and became design director for Tokyo Disney. And then he came home, thank God, because we then looked after him when he was dying. So I wanted to share this one thing with you and then open it for whatever things you want to share with each other. Dan came up with this idea at the Global Mentorship in Perth, Australia. No idea what year it was. It was at least 10 years ago. And he said, virtues of a feather flock together. and he was talking about that. And then he came up with this idea of a 5-card spread, which was on the former Virtues Project website.
Yeah.
And you could do on your own, really, if you know what the structure is. And what it is it's an issue-oriented virtues pick using 5 cards. And I think it's uncanny. I think Spirit uses it. We'll use anything we give. So I think all kinds of mystical things work. Because if your soul is open, you'll get the message you need.
Yeah.
So you start with really as clearly as you can, identify an issue or a question or a problem. You start, and I put it in the form of a circle, like in the center of a page. I then put, number 1, the core virtue that applies in this situation. So the first one is the core virtue. Then up in the upper corner, I put the guiding virtue. And that has to do with what is going to lead you in this situation. What is the virtue whose lead you need to follow? Then next is your strength virtue. So core, guiding, strength. And the strength virtue is what you can totally rely on within yourself to resolve this issue. Then there is the challenge virtue. What's the teachable moment? What's the virtue that you need to cultivate? And really look at that one, because that is very revealing. Even if it's a virtue that you're usually strong in, but in this situation with this particular issue, it may be eluding you. And finally, the sustaining virtue. What will keep the resolution going? So it's been quite a journey with these cards. Oh, that's great. And you know what? I take notes. I will pull out from the card the lines that really resonate with me. So I leave room under each title for, first of all, write the virtue, and then a few lines from the card that really speak to you. And then that really reflect on it, really meditate on it. And give yourself some action steps if that feels right. I find that just so empowering. And it's different every time.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put that on my website. I don't like it being offline. I'm going to get Uncle Steve to help me with that.
Yeah.
I will.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I have just a question. Did you, like you talked about Dan contributed this line or that kind of thing. Were you the author, like, of all of the different decks?
Yes.
The resilience deck, all of them.
All of them.
It's a huge amount of work.
I know. It's been a total privilege and pleasure, though. It just, sometimes I can't believe what a great life I've had because of, I mean, can you imagine what it's like to be immersed in the virtues?
Mm.
It's very challenging because then I got to live up to it. And I don't always. You know, I lose my way, I fall in a hole. But the thing is, I come out of it again usually. Well, always, I've always come out because I know that if I could get to the heart of the matter about why I'm being driven by my ego instead of led by my soul, I can resolve it. But it's very important for us to recognize our feelings. We don't have to act them out. In fact, my big teachable moment I've been through the last, I would say 3 months, I've taken it inside. I've only talked to God about it and a few very close people that I trust. But I have not talked to the people. Anyway, yeah. And it's just awesome to have come out on the other side, like, ah, I resolved it. And I'll tell you that 5-card spread was super important. And one of them, I think the guiding virtue was patience. Like, give it time, Linda, you'll sort it out. And I needed a lot of patience. Did I answer your question? I think I went off on a side trip.
No, you did. And I mean, I loved what you said. It's really important to recognize our feelings. We don't have to act them out.
Right.
But they're those red flags. I am angry. That's a red flag. What is that about? That's my teachable moment. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Sarah put a question in the chat. Sarah, do you want to just unmute yourself and ask your question?
Patty, can I just say one thing first?
Oh, yes, please.
There is a little box in A Pace of Grace that is about claiming our feelings. When we feel our feelings, when I feel my anger, when I claim my anger, I receive the gift of justice. Every feeling is based on a need for a virtue. When I claim my loneliness, I receive the gift of intimacy or friendship. So I don't know if you have that book, but it's very precious. I learned it from a First Nations woman named Bet Samigal, and it's so important to understand that. And you can't detach from what you don't know. Unless you know what you're feeling, you can't detach from it. So don't skip that part. And be a good companion to yourself. It's not about guilt. Like, I shouldn't be angry. I should be a nice person all the time. It's hearing yourself so deeply that you can heal it. Sorry, I'll stop now. What was the
No.
question?
Don't stop.
Oh. What was the question? The next question.
Thanks,
I can
Linda.
look in
So
there.
generous in sharing your thoughts.
Oh,
My
thank you.
question, you're welcome. My question is the 5-card spread best done as a random pick, or is it you're
Yes.
choosing these
No,
virtues?
don't
also
choose it.
random?
Let them, whoever that is, choose it for you. I think of it as my A team, my advisors and ancestors and angels in the spiritual realm. That's who I think is picking it. And whatever your belief system, it's just better not to try to use your brain. Just open your spirit and see what comes. Thank you for that. It's a very discerning question, Sarah. So glad you asked it. It's clarifying. Oh, Betsy, look at that.
The very
That's
first
amazing.
card.
Those are the first cards.
I had those.
Oh,
I've got
I could.
those.
Yep, they're pretty wonderful.
Oh,
Some people laminated them, but we didn't.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did. I did.
I did, yeah.
that was very creative. I never thought of that.
But I think that the family cards got a little shortened from these, didn't they, Linda? The
Yes,
verbiage
they did.
a
They
little
did.
bit shorter.
Yeah,
The affirmation I think is shorter. It's like one line or something.
that's right.
Maybe more geared to children.
Yes, we wanted to gear them so that young children could respond to them and understand them. Yeah. Oh,
Does anybody else want to ask a question? Gonna just open it up here for a bit. Go ahead, Yuta.
I think Bridget is trying to say something too, but she's muted.
No.
Oh, okay.
Hi, my name is Yuta, and thank you so much for joining us today. My question is, how many decks are there? I'm fairly new to the Virtues project.
I don't know anymore. Well, there's the 17, including the multi-faith family ones. Then there's
Oh, yes, okay.
there's the virtues. There's the ones Betsy showed. There's the virtues reflection card. Those aren't available anymore though. Virtues reflection cards, virtues, either you can call them sunset or resilience cards. There's the DECA cards for youth. There's the educator cards. That's 4.
Family cards.
I thought okay, family virtues cards.
Yeah.
Oh, we even made little tiny cards for young kids, but nobody ever bought them. So I don't know where they are now.
Really? Because
I
I was
thought-
thinking that that's missing. Yeah.
Well,
I
we
found
tried.
them the other day. I have a set.
We'd even be speaking at education conferences and they wouldn't buy them. Well, because you had to cut them out. They were in a big sheet and they were virtues acknowledgement cards. I saw your blank when you know.
Yeah.
They had a picture of an animal on them.
Yeah,
And I think there were 12 altogether, 12 virtues.
right.
Oh, that's reasonable. Yeah.
But I think some other people look on the virtue shop because I think some other people are doing that now. I have that sense.
So there's this one that I ordered from the shop. So Linda, this is supposedly for children. Have you seen these?
No, I haven't seen those.
Kids Virtues cards. I have a set that's open.
Wow.
Who wrote them? Who put them together?
It says the Virtues shop on top of it. So this is that. The 5 strategies are on the back with colorful writing. And then I show you an example. Okay, caring. So only the word caring is on top,
Okay.
with the picture of animal, and on the back, it tells you what caring is. Now I haven't had a
Can-
chance to
I think
see.
those are archives redesigned, but they don't have a quote.
No, they don't.
Okay, so they've done a new version, taking the quote off. I've really given people permission to do that because
Yeah.
Wow. So you've given people permission to just use your text, use the quote, don't use the quote, change up the pictures.
well, they belong to VPIA now, so
Right.
whoever does it has to have an agreement with VPIA
Right.
and give them some kind of royalty. Asha don't want to deal with all that.
The
Too many
wise choice.
details. I think so too.
So are these family or these
No,
are
those
for
are the educator cards.
Educators cards.
Yeah.
Yes.
We created those.
Yes.
Are those the same as those animal ones?
No. This
No.
has been around for a good while.
No, but is the text the same?
No. I mean, similar.
Tara,
but
why don't
much
you
short-
read one? When you want to
Okay.
read one, and I'll tell you if it's the same.
Which one do you want me to read?
Any one you want.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to read assertiveness. Okay.
Okay.
This is the picture of assertiveness.
No,
Somebody
not that
No,
card.
no, the
The
animal.
other cards, the animal
Oh, the
one.
animal. Okay.
Do the llama.
Okay, I'm going to do acceptance. How is that? It just came out. Okay.
Beautiful.
So acceptance is, so it says, what is acceptance? Acceptance is when you receive what life presents and allow these circumstances and occurrences to improve you. When you do not
That's not
attempt
me.
to control an outcome, you allow the journey of
That's
life.
not children's language. Oi, never mind. I
Yeah,
don't want to hear anymore.
no. So
Okay,
it's
so that.
I guess they're trying to improve on what we did.
acceptance group. I was curious. I have grandchildren on the way. So I'm preparing myself.
Well,
Bye,
that's fine.
Bridget. Bridget's saying goodbye.
I just, bye, Bridget. No, I don't. Just
Thank you.
listening to that, I wouldn't use those with children. It's just too highfalutin. Our language was geared to like third grade level. We did a lot of research. So I guess people want to improve on what we did, but I didn't see, I'm just being way too honest here. I didn't like it. I could tell Betsy didn't like it either.
Yeah, Linda, can I just, I guess, it seems to me that VPIA needs to be really discerning about what's accepted because that is totally not child oriented. I mean, the picture is, but the verbiage isn't. And so I hate to see it get diluted down from, you know, the original content, because number one, there's so many sets that you have created that are beautifully written. And I mean, everybody that I know thinks so. And that I've met, not just that I know. So I don't know. I have a concern about that.
I do too now, because I ignore all that, you know, because it's too hard.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if maybe they just need to redesign them. Like the sunset / resilience cards are a new design. But even those, somebody didn't like them, so they're trying to change the design. But to me, that is special that Dan designed them and took the photos and everything. So I don't know.
So I wonder if we should write to VPIA.
And I don't understand the relationship between VPIA and the Virtue Shop. Maybe that's something for me to really reflect on and talk to them about. Because I'm back to consulting with them on special things.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I hear your
Thank you.
sense of justice, Betsy, and your respect
Go
for
on, I'll go on
children.
mute now.
That's a good
Thank you.
idea.
Thank you,
I've got to-
Linda.
I probably ought to mute myself too.
Well, Linda's got a question, or sorry, Susan's got a question for Linda.
Where's Susan?
Yours?
No, that's from, what's that thing behind, something ideas,
Character coins. So
special ideas?
Oh, they're from Brilliant Ideas.
I
Oh,
don't think that's what they're called. I think it's special ideas.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think so. It's Justice St. Rain.
special ideas. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is not your work.
No,
Oh, okay.
I never really looked at them, so I don't know what they're
Yeah.
like.
They're a little coin. They're just, the words are on it, like
Yeah.
just I am honest.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's and there's not a lot of different images to it. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're like a little reward coin or something.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Renee and then Sarah.
So Linda, it's wonderful to
Hi, Renee.
share the background and to get a sense of the differences. And I just Googled kids virtue cards, and I can't even tell you how many things are coming up, Walmart and this and that. And so I almost wonder if there's a need for a clearinghouse, a little bit of a clearinghouse, especially what's sold, that you've approved it. So I mean, I
Good
bought my grandkids one book that was actually good, Jungle of Virtues, and it was it's from a Tender Years series, and I almost got more, and I said, let me get one, and it was fine. But I almost wonder if we could help with that in being that clearinghouse, just be reviewers, if that would be useful.
Renee, that is an awesome offer, and maybe something to, if that's something that you're willing to do, maybe write to contact us at virtuesproject.com, and name the concern and make the offer, because that's the problem. They don't have a lot of staff. They have a huge array of volunteers, but they're all pretty focused on different things.
I think it would be great to do collaboratively as a service.
I do too. I think that'd be wonderful. It's not something that I can be
No.
part of, actually, at this point.
But we could also bring things to your attention, some of the findings and discoveries.
Yeah, for sure.
And probably some things are not great, but they're, innocuous, or they're on topic. They're not as good as yours. But it would be, it seems to me with a plethora of stuff coming out, it would be good to review that. So maybe a number of us could do that together.
Renee, are you on the Virtues Facilitator Exchange?
I am not.
Because that would be, are you a Virtues Facilitator?
I'm not. I'm a self-taught virtue artist person.
Okay. Well, I think if you just write to them, contact us at virtuesproject.com, that would be good.
Yeah.
That's a very, very thoughtful and helpful suggestion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, Sarah, go ahead.
Thanks. So my question, Linda, is do you ever explore the idea of going back and writing more cards? I know that the character deck has 7 cards that weren't in the reflection deck.
Right.
First of all, I wonder if you wrote those. And second of all, if you ever just have interest in that. And selfishly, the one I'm really curious about is tenderness, because I see that word on a lot of the reflection cards.
Yes.
And I just would love to hear your take on it. So it's kind of
a beautiful
multifaceted
virtue,
question.
Yes. Because I feel the same way about some of the new virtues in the sunset cards / resilience cards. Resilience and clarity. I love the clarity card.
Yeah.
Because that is just so essential. That is a very thoughtful suggestion. I will take it to heart and really reflect on it. I'll tell you what I'm thinking of doing. It's not cards, but it's a virtues day book where I write about all these different virtues throughout the year. So it wouldn't be a week on each virtue, it would be a day. And things like that would be easily incorporated into it. Now that's exciting to me. Have you ever read the Language of Letting Go, which is a book by Melody Beattie? It's a day book where you just read one thing per day. You know it, Jeannie? Well, I just love it. Someone gave it to me because I needed it. And I've been reading it. I just love it. It's like little essays and then an action to take. And that's typically my style.
Yeah.
So what do you think of that, Sarah? Would that solve the issue?
Yeah, I can't get enough. So if you write anything, I'll read it.
Thank you so much. I love that.
Did
I
you
really
write those
appreciate-
7 additional cards that appear in the character
Nope.
deck? No.
What were they? I mean, I don't think I did.
There's humor,
No,
leadership. They seem more corporate oriented, but
No, because those aren't actual virtues.
professionalism is one of them.
No, that's not a virtue.
Yeah.
When I say it's not a virtue, it's a good quality.
Mhm.
But all our research was in the pure sacred texts of the world's religions and the oral traditions of indigenous people. So even though humor is a great thing to have, God never said be humorous, but God does show humor. So I know we've gotten that for years. We're very hard line about or purist in our approach, but they're still good things. So they're good qualities.
Betsy, is that your hand up? Yeah, please.
Linda, do you know if Sacred Moments will be reprinted?
Yes,
It's been out of print for quite a while, hasn't it?
yes, it has. We won't go to that story, but I'm being so naughty today. I appreciate your tolerance. I know that the International Advisory Council, which is an awesome part of VPIA, is working on it. And it's
Wonderful.
going to be released probably by the time there's the global mentorship in San Diego, June 3rd to 5th, this coming year. And Dan and I are going to be there, God willing.
Yay.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So
you.
I'm hoping the book will be out by then and they'll bring some.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I just don't know if they're doing it as a download versus an actual book. I want mine to be an actual book because I like to hold a day book in my hands.
Yeah, yeah,
Tired of being on the screen.
yeah.
Does anybody have questions about anything?
Joni's got her hand up.
Joni?
I was curious as I was looking through, and I remember hearing that there were 600 virtues initially that were looked
Actually,
at.
1,000. There's 1,000.
1,000. You're 320.
And I was just kind of awestruck at how the process to go through to get the initial 52.
Yeah. It's a great question, Joni. It's a very discerning question because we spent a lot of time consulting about what are 52 virtues that are needed by parents with children that are the most important things for children to learn. And that's probably why there are so many that almost seem redundant, like caring and kindness and love and gentleness, because those are things that children need to learn. And we got a lot of flack about one of them, which was obedience, because the Aussies don't like that word. They would rather see the virtue of independence for their children. They don't want their children to obey anybody that might boss them around or try to control them, including themselves. I've been known to say to an Australian audience, well, if you don't want to use obedience, you probably won't get any. But that felt very important to us because it's so pronounced in the holy books. Obey your parents, you know? So yeah, we carefully selected those, even though some of them are quite redundant. And then we just kept trying to be open to which ones we should include as the cards evolved. Thank you for that discerning questions, Tony.
So we've gone over the 5 o'clock hour, and there's some people who had to go and they just put their goodbyes in the chat, and then just
I'll take a look.
Off they go. Yeah. Which is kind of how we roll, and we usually try to be finished up probably by 1/4 after. So I mean, if there's any burning comment or question, guys, now's the time to practice the assertiveness. Go ahead and ask.
I just want to add about this one. When I received the cards as a Montessori educator, I was shocked because if this is for children, usually in a Montessori education from 0 to 5, you use realistic pictures, whether they're books and things like that. And I was just, what are these pictures? I told myself, they're just cartoons. They're not even looking like the real thing. So, I mean, so that's one of my, it was my questions. Who designed these? And
Sarah, are those from the Virtue Shop?
yeah.
Oy vey. Okay.
It's a Virtue Shop. Yeah.
So there's lots of opportunities.
Lots of opportunities.
Yes.
Teachable moments.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lord, I don't know if I want to wade into all this, but there's certain principles. I really love Renee's idea of a clearinghouse, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, there would need to be a good group of people that are really immersed in virtue strategies and the understanding of that, where it comes from, I guess.
Yeah.
Sarah, that is really helpful that you shared that. Yeah. I have a great relationship with Aria, so I'll talk with her about it too.
Mom, were you saying something?
Thanks, Patty. I was just going to say that this is Appreciation Day, and I really appreciate being able to be a fly on the wall and learn about this, because my daughter is so much into it. So I just appreciate all of you letting me hear your thoughts on these different virtues. I think that's the thing that I've had in my life most of my life is appreciating, because I'm so grateful for everything I've had, all my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, travel where I've traveled. I am so lucky, and I appreciate all of that. And I didn't know anything about the virtues cards until Patty brought me a pack. Now I pull out one at a time and have a read. So I appreciate you all, and I really want to thank you all for that. Thanks, Patty.
Well, I appreciate your openness to come and share with us. It's very special to have Patty's mom here.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
Thanks for organizing this, Patty. It's really special.
It's, one of those silver linings of, Zoom and being stuck at home is you reach out, Renee had the question, where did these cards come from? Maura, who's not here, was like, what's going on? And so I just, send a little message, and there's Linda responding. And I just so love that, just the community of it. I mean, that's one of the things that I have really hugely appreciated about all of you is, we get together, and we do this once a week. We've been doing it since
Wow.
April 2020, and we take the virtue and we just we tease it all out. Like it's just we'll come and do a circle, Linda, and we'll like, oh, this is kind of not that interesting a one, right? And by the time we get to, or I know all about that one I know about, and we get to the end of it and we're just like, you know, like it's just so much richer because of what everyone contributes and how everybody sees. And I feel like next week I still want to come back and do the sharing circle about appreciation, because I want to get a handle on what's the difference between that and gratitude. Like what's, you know, what's the distinction there? Yeah. So.
Well, Patty, you know, I really appreciate that you have such faithfulness to understanding the virtues, that you would do it in that way. I think that's a fascinating way to share with one another, teasing it apart, you know.
Oh, it's
and
rich.
I've been with people who want to put the virtues back that they picked, and I go, no, there's a reason. That came up, you know, like modesty. Oh no, put that back. Or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You know, one time I was giving a quote training to physicians for whatever you call that they get extra credit, you know. And I had the family virtues card, and one of them got obedience. And at first he was really offended, and then I companioned him in front of all the other doctors, and he went, "Oh, I've got to listen to my heart." It was really a great experience. So stand your ground, people. Patty, I really appreciate that you reached out to me, that you had the courage to do that. You know that I don't take on very much these days, but well, it was such a pleasure to be with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
There's a heart. I get that.
Does somebody want to give Linda an acknowledgement to send her on her way? This is the educator part of me. Someone else do it. Joni, go for it. Joni and Farah are newly minted master facilitators.
I know. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's an honor. Well, first of all, I really want to honor you for your, I see it as grace, but it's beyond grace and wisdom. Your openness to accepting things as they come along your path. And taking on this group today with us in it is truly an honor. I know I speak for everybody here. It's really an act of grace for all of us, and it's an honor to be here with you and hear your stories of things from the beginning till now. And on a personal note, I mean, this has been probably the most life-changing work that I've ever done on myself with the virtues, and how I see it manifesting in the community and the people around me, and how it's opened them up to receiving more grace in their life as well. So I thank you and Dan and John, for your love in all of that. Thank you.
Joni, what an exquisite acknowledgement. So gracious. Wish I'd written that down. Oh yes, it's recorded. But so beautiful, and really, it means so much to me. Thank you.
Anybody else? Susan.
I would like to honor you for your generosity. Not only your hour today, but all of the hours of work and meditation and soul searching and everything else that you've done for the last 30 years, that You've brought this to us at a time in our lives when each of us, I'm speaking for myself, when I most needed it. Thank you for your generosity.
Thank you so much. You know, I've been, for whatever reason, in probably the last couple of weeks, I've just had this deep appreciation for how God has given me these opportunities and this divine assistance. That's what it feels like. You know, it's like when I get to the next world, I want to meet whoever's been in the virtues team because, you know, to give me this ability to do this and also to give me more time, because I just had open heart surgery about 9 months ago and I'm just a new person. I feel such strength and readiness to do new projects. So very thankful and appreciative. And I really appreciate the devotion in each of you, even the people new to this, to really see the treasure that these virtues are, these virtues inside of you.
Okay, well, we got to finish up. How about we just have a quick shower of virtues for Linda? So
My goodness, I'm just getting immersed.
Let's
today.
give you a virtue shower. So just unmute yourself and maybe acknowledge one virtue that you'd like to for Linda.
Love.
Love.
Purity.
Gratitude.
Wisdom.
Truthfulness.
That? I missed that one.
Appreciation.
What was that? Sorry, Anastasia?
Appreciation.
Mm-hmm.
Honor.
Joy.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. I take that to heart. Really made my day.
Okay.
And it was
There
just
you go.
a lovely experience to be with you today.